question is to the Minister for Education. Will the Minister please explain how the government's higher education reforms will help my people in the electorate of Lindsay gain greater access to universities? How does this with other approaches?
I call her Honourable the Minister for Education.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And I'm happy to tell the member for Lindsay that the University of Western Sydney is a great asset to her in Western Sydney and to the people of Western Sydney. And people like those in Western Sydney will be big winners from the government's higher education reforms that we are introducing through the budget. They'll be big winners because we are expanding university education to 80,000 more students around Australia, many of which will be low socioeconomic status students and first-generation university goers, just like many of those who go to the University of Western Sydney in the member for Lindsay's electorate. We are expanding and creating Commonwealth scholarships. We are lifting the cap on diplomas, which the University of Western Sydney specialise in, Madam Speaker, as pathways for first-generation university goers, and we're opening the Commonwealth grant scheme to non-university higher education providers, which will create competition and a bigger market for students in the University of Western Sydney, giving more young Australians the opportunity to get a higher education qualification. Because, Madam Speaker, we have a plan in this budget to re-energise higher education as a sector in Australia in the future. That stands in stark contrast, Madam Speaker, with the approaches taken by the Labor Party, because the Labor Party is no longer the working-class party, it is the whinging party of Australia, Madam Speaker. The Labor Party's approach in government was to cut $2.7 billion from universities without the corresponding granting of freedom to universities to innovate and compete with their Asian competitors. Labor's approach is to say no to 80,000 more places at university. It's to say no to the Commonwealth Scholarships Fund. It's to say no to expanding the Commonwealth grant scheme to non-university higher education providers. It's saying no to lifting the cap on diplomas so that those people in Western Sydney get the chance to use pathways into being first-generation university goers. Unfortunately, Madam Speaker, Australia's #1 whinger has no plans for Australia's future. No plans. The only response he has is to say no to the government's attempt to re-energise higher education, to give our universities the chance to compete against their Asian competitors. But we will persist because we know that what we are doing is right and good for students and universities in the future.